Alright, we're back, everyone. It'll be the Mandalorian Chapter 10, The Passenger. Um, so yeah, we're just gonna summarize what happened in the show. To start off with, this is literally off Wikipedia, so people who haven't watched it, who just want to know what's going on, they don't want to pay for a Disney Plus subscription, can kind of get an idea what happened. So, returning from Mos Pelgo, the Mandalorian subdues bandits who attempted to capture the child. His speeder spike destroyed, the Mandalorian walks back to Mos Eisley, finding Peli Motto playing cards with Dr. Mandible, who has information about Mandalorians. The Mandalorian must transport a passenger, the Frog Lady, to an estuary moon called Trask, where her husband will fertilize her eggs, and has information about other Mandalorians. Her spawn are fragile and must be transported at sublight speeds, despite risk of being attacked by pirates. The child surreptitiously eats some of the eggs. They encounter a New Republic patrol, and the Razor Crest is forced to flee to a nearby planet Maldo Crest and hide in an ice canyon. The ship crashes through the ice and is severely damaged. The Mandalorian wants to wait until morning to make repairs due to the extreme cold. The Frog Lady uses the severed head of the droid Q90 to translate and says they cannot wait, admonishing the Mandalorian for breaking his word, and he reluctantly begins repairs. Later they find the Frog Lady in a nearby hot water pool bathing with her eggs. The Mandalorian warns it is not safe and collects the eggs. To summarize this though, basically in the end, they spring a whole giant spiders, and the fighter pilots, the New Rebellion or whatnot, New Republic, come back and save them. And they finish the scene off sneaking out of this ice planet. Yeah, anyways, we'll start off rating and summarizing. I think what we might do is to maybe have different sections to rate it on. Graphics, storyline, and lore. I think those are the three categories I think would should focus on. But I think we should weigh storyline and lore heavier than graphics. So to start out with the jetpack scene, and Grogu's reaction is hilarious when Mando sends the jetpack flying up with the guy still attached to it. I like that. I didn't like the costume of Dr. Mandible though. It was too 70s. It was too much like the effects of New Hope. I know they probably going for that, but things have advanced since then, so it's just too cheesy. I know they were using probably maybe animatronics to make the Dr. Mandible creature or whatever. I just didn't like it. Now, believe it or not, Dave Filoni, one of the creators of the Clone Wars animated show, he helped. He was actually in a cameo, and he was one of the X-wing fighters at the end of the New Republic. The Razor Crest too kind of reminds me of the show Firefly, just the way it's designed. Kind of found that interesting. I like the Alien movie vibes, and the flamethrower. They kind of remind me of the movie Alien. Baby Yoda eating the eggs too. It's kind of interesting because apparently a lot of people online didn't like the idea of Baby Yoda eating the eggs. Something about not being humanitarian or something. I don't know. It's just a show. I get what they're saying, but I don't get it at the same time. I think another really kind of side note that people probably should have picked up on is the low plate Grogu was eaten off of in the Razor Crest. He's with the mom and Mando. before the giant spider's attack was actually the same plate that Luke was using on planet Dagobah when he was receiving his training from Yoda. It was like the exact same plate in the little setup. If you remember, Yoda stole the food from Luke, and it was on the similar plate. So it was interesting they used the same of that. It was kind of homage to the original trilogy. It was nice that they gave a nod to that. Now, one thing I'll hope to find out, but the Razor Crest, it was close up. I wonder if it was a set design or CGI, but they kind of had really close up of the Razor Crest when Mando was standing beside it. I kind of was interested if that was um, CGI or a set. So it'd be, because I couldn't tell, it means they did their job right. But it would just be, yeah, anybody knew. It'd be nice if they could tell me. I appreciated Mando. It was showing him welding his ship and welding, like he had a welding gun out. And I kind of wonder if his helmet actually protects against the arc flash, what is produced by the arc welding gun he has. I'm just curious about that. And then he kind of had a infrared helmet design too when he was tracking the footprints of the frog lady. Another Alien vs Predator nod. I kind of found it. Grogu was being a little shit during this episode. He was eating the eggs and the whatnot. It's kind of nice though because we get to know more about Yoda's species, like what they eat and whatnot. Kind of gives us more of a introduction to the lore behind Yoda's species. It was nice finding that out. I love the spiders and the CGI done on the huge spider. I think the CGI could have been a bit better on the big spider, but not much. The flamethrower scene was perfect. It was kind of weird though. Mando was using his blasters to get the small spiders at first. Like, I understand it was just showing him he's a marksman, but you think he'd use the flamethrower right away. When Dave Filoni and the other New Republic officer finally came back, I liked how he was just like, these are trying times, showing how like the rebellion had more compassion than the Empire. And I kind of was always curious how the convo came up that Dave Filoni wanted to be like in the Mandalorian episode, like if he was just like, yeah, I kind of want to be an actor and a part of this big show that I've helped create, or what his intentions were behind that. And I like the funny line though towards the end though, when man was just like, if this door gets sucked off its rails, if that happened, we all be dead. That was a perfect like kind of ending to that episode. Yeah, but I kind of was taken out of the belief of the show when it was, because it was so banged up. I don't think it'd be ever possible for them to re-enter the atmosphere of a new planet. The ship being like that, I understand that their Razor Crest, the cabin is sealed, but still, like, the heat and everything that would be generated from them re-entering the atmosphere would probably burn up the cockpit. So I kind of broke my belief of the show in that. Obviously, it has huge spiders and whatnot, so it's not much to believe in to begin with, but still, it kind of broke my belief when they're just like, the ship was so damaged and it was gonna be somehow re-entering the atmosphere with that much damage. So yeah, let's analyze graphics, storyline, and lore. So the graphics, I would say graphics, it is a 50-50 to be honest. I think I'm gonna give it like a 60, and that's not being rude or anything, but I think the graphics on the giant spider were acceptable. They were well done, but they're average from where it should be. Like, if you've seen The Revenge of the Sith, that came out in 2005, but the CGI and the graphics in that show were miles ahead of its time. Even the clone troopers, the ARC 170s, Mustafar, they actually got real clip footage of volcanic eruptions in Mustafar. You see the final battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin. So, yeah, so those scenes of 2005 compared to 2020, that's 15 years difference. And Revenge of the Sith, a lot of the scenes from that show are still miles ahead of The Mandalorian. So 15 years is quite a bit of a time between the two shows. Do you think they would have made advancements since then? I really didn't see much advancement in there. I'd say it's about 25 to 30% worse special effects, especially the Dr. Mandible creature. That was hideous and should never have made it to the final cut. That's why I would give it a 60. Only thing that brought it up was the spider creature, the set design of the Razor Crest, and how it was really interesting how they pulled that off. I couldn't tell if it was CGI or real set design. So yeah, I give graphics a solid 60, 6 out of 10. Storyline, I think it was fairly linear. Solid beginning, kind of introduced the quest, what was going to happen. Dr. Mandible, he's receiving this. This is a mission you have to do, and the ending was perfect. Like, they nailed the ending. I would say, storyline wise, it was good. I give it. It's kind of cheesy with Dave Filoni. You could tell he was just like smiling because he just wanted to be in the show. But I'd say 8.5 out of 10 for storyline. It was better than average, but it wasn't. Obviously, it's not perfect. There's nothing that's going to be perfect. And lore, I would say, I don't know, 8.5 or 8 out of 10. Solid 8 out of 10. Showing more about Yoda species. That's really kind of what we want to know. We now know he eats those frog lady spiders, and he eats spiders. You never really know about Yoda, so it kind of shows more things about Yoda and about his species. So it's always interesting to figure out more about that. But yeah, overall, I'd probably give this episode, The Passenger, 7.2 or 7.3 out of 10. If you're a big Star Wars fan, definitely see this show. But the reason I think maybe 2 or 3 years from now down the line, people will look at this show more realistically and see it was more average than it actually is. It's a good show, don't get me wrong, but it's not nearly as good as people are saying it. They should have higher standards for Star Wars shows, especially because Revenge of the Sith really set the bar way long ago, and the sequel trilogy, old prequel trilogy, I mean, has done amazing things, and it has really set the stage for what can be possible in CGI, practical effects, and just the lore in general. Like, all the books and the universe George Lucas set up, it's amazing. I think hopefully this is just the start of what they're beginning to accomplish in the Star Wars universe. This is definitely a step in the right direction where they're going. I think this episode and scheme of things was I think the strongest of The Mandalorian, like I said, was the setup. The beginning of The Mandalorian season was the setup. That's the strongest. It ended on a very weak note, but the setup of the beginning was executed very perfectly. I think the beginning was done very well. It made me interested in the show right away. And all these, it feels like a side quest. It feels like an RPG video game. How it's being set up. When I was at this point, I was like, this is kind of like a cool RPG video game. Watching this, I like this. It wasn't like a very slow beginning. It was like, okay, here's what it is. We're gonna start it up, and we're gonna put you into action. And I like that. It was good. Um, yeah, that's all I really have for this. I could go on, but I've got all my points I wanted to accomplish. Stay tuned, I guess, for the third episode. Will be episode 11, I believe. Yeah, we'll see you then. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Trying not to let this all go to my head. Flip that one with you. Can't say I'm surprised. After all, it's us.